A teenage girl runs screaming through tall grass, her clothes soaked in blood that isn't all hers. Behind her, something massive crashes through the brush, low to the ground, red-furred, jaws wide enough to take off a head. When they find her, she can barely speak. She keeps repeating the same word, loup, wolf. It's June 1764 in the remote province of Gévaudan, in what is now southern France. The land is rugged, rolling hills, dense forests, scattered stone farms clinging to survival. France is ruled by Louis XV, but out here, royal authority feels distant. Most families live on the edge of starvation. Livestock is wealth. Children herd cattle because adults are needed in the fields. One of those children is 14-year-old Jeanne Boulet. She's tending cattle near the village of Les Aubacs when she's attacked. Records from the local parish note her burial on June 30th, 1764. Cause of death? Devoured by a beast. The priest isn't prone to fantasy. He writes what he sees, and what he sees is a body mutilated in a way wolves don't usually manage. At first, people assume it's a large wolf. Wolves are common. Dangerous, yes, but predictable. Yet survivors describe something else. They talk about a creature with a long tail ending in a tuft, reddish fur with a dark stripe down its back, a broad chest, and a snout more like a greyhound than a wolf. It doesn't just kill livestock, it targets people, specifically women and children, and it goes for the throat and face. By autumn, the attacks multiply. September, October, November 1764. Victims are dragged into fields, torn apart, sometimes partially eaten. According to official reports, over 30 people are killed in just a few months. And here's what unsettles everyone. Armed men are present during some attacks. The beast doesn't scare easily. It circles, it tests, then it lunges. Captain Jean-Baptiste Duhamel, stationed in the region, organizes dragoons to hunt it. Hundreds of men sweep the forests. They kill wolves by the dozen. They parade carcasses through villages, but the killings continue. And then something happens that makes everything worse. The story reaches Versailles. When word arrives that peasants in Gévaudan are being slaughtered by a mysterious animal, it becomes a national embarrassment. Pamphlets circulate in Paris. Is this divine punishment? Is it incompetence? Is the countryside lawless? Louis XV cannot appear weak, so he sends professional wolf hunters. First, Jean-Charles Denneval and his son, then the royal gun-bearer François Antoine. In September 1765, Antoine claims victory. He kills an enormous wolf near the Abbey of Chazes. The animal is stuffed and sent to Versailles. The court breathes a sigh of relief. The king rewards Antoine with 9,000 livres, a small fortune. In today's terms, that's tens of thousands of dollars. The message is clear. The beast is dead. The crown has restored order. But here's what they don't tell you. The attacks resume within months. December 1765, another child is killed, then another. Villagers whisper what they're afraid to say out loud. The royal wolf wasn't the beast. It was just a wolf, and the king had already declared victory. Over the next year and a half, the body count climbs. Modern historians estimate between 80 and 100 deaths from 1764 to 1767. Some contemporary accounts go higher, over 120. The killings stretch across an area nearly 90 kilometers wide. That's not one random predator, that's a campaign of terror. In June 1767, a local hunter named Jean Chastel shoots a large animal on the slopes of Montmouchet. According to legend, he uses silver bullets blessed by a priest. That detail likely comes later. What's documented is this. After Chastel kills the animal, the attacks stop. The carcass is examined. Witnesses claim it's unusually large with strange proportions, but by the time it reaches officials, it's decomposing. No grand parade this time, no royal celebration, just quiet relief. The case fades. So what was it? A wolf? Possibly a particularly large one or several wolves operating in the same region. Some modern zoologists suggest a wolf-dog hybrid. Others propose a striped hyena. Exotic animals did circulate in 18th century Europe through private menageries. There's even a theory of a human serial killer using trained animals. But here's the twist. The Beast of Gévaudan isn't just a story about an animal. It's about power, about money, about who controls the narrative. Let's talk about the real reason this spiraled. In 1760s France, wolves aren't just predators, they're political. The crown pays bounties for wolf carcasses, local hunters earn income per kill. Professional wolf hunters build reputations, secure royal favor, and collect massive fees. Francois Antoine's 9,000 livre reward isn't charity, it's an investment in optics. Every dead wolf is proof that the monarchy protects its subjects. And Gévaudan is poor, brutally poor. Crops fail, winters are harsh, bread prices rise. When peasants die, it exposes how vulnerable rural France really is. A beast killing dozens without being stopped suggests the crown's authority doesn't reach the forests. That's dangerous messaging in a kingdom already strained by debt from wars and lavish spending at Versailles. So declaring the beast dead in 1765 serves a purpose. It stabilizes markets, it calms pamphleteers, it reassures property owners that property, and by extension economic productivity, is secure. Livestock survives, rents get paid, taxes flow upward. Admitting failure would cost more than 9,000 livres. It would cost credibility. And credibility in pre-revolutionary France is everything. When Chastel kills the final animal in 1767, there's no financial incentive for spectacle, no royal reward announced with fanfare. The monarchy quietly steps back. The problem is solved. Officially. Records close, life moves on. But the people remember. They remember the smell of blood in the fields. They remember children buried in shallow graves. They remember that help arrived late and left early. Fast forward to today. Sound familiar? We still see the same pattern. A crisis erupts, people die, authorities rush to contain the narrative, a solution is presented, funds are allocated, headlines declare victory, and then, quietly, the underlying problem persists. Whether it's corporate disasters, public health failures, or financial collapses, institutions often prioritize perception over protection. Billions are spent on public relations, legal settlements, and symbolic fixes. The modern equivalent of 9,000 livres isn't a sack of coins. It's a government contract, a bailout package, a media campaign. We like to believe we've evolved beyond superstition, that we no longer fear werewolves in the woods. But mass hysteria, narrative control, monetizing fear, that's alive and well. The Beast of Gévaudan became a legend because it filled a vacuum. When official explanations feel incomplete, people create their own. Werewolf stories spread because they made emotional sense. A supernatural monster felt more honest than bureaucratic incompetence. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The real demon wasn't a werewolf. It wasn't even necessarily a single animal. It was a system that valued image over rural lives. History wants you to picture peasants trembling at a mythical beast, but the truth is, they were also confronting something colder, the realization that they were expendable. We've been taught this is folklore, a curiosity, maybe even a tourist attraction in modern Lozère, but it's also a case study on how power manages fear, how money flows towards optics, and how the vulnerable pay the price. So what do you think? Was the Beast of Gévaudan biological anomaly or a convenient scapegoat for deeper failures? And more importantly, what beasts are we being told are handled today while the real danger remains in the shadows? If you want more stories where legend collides with uncomfortable history, subscribe, because sometimes the monster isn't hiding in the forest. Sometimes it's sitting on a throne.